They're telling me 70% of the content on the internet is pornography. Is it so? I said 70% is unreasonable and sick levels of pornography. Once you come as a human being, your biology is not the front end of your life, but definitely it should not be the front end of your life because you're rolling back evolutionary scheme of putting your intelligence and consciousness in the front. Instead of that, you're putting your biology in the front. We have a biology, we cannot put it under the carpet, it's there. It's best we address it for what it is. But right now the problem in the world is, because certain religious institutions in the world took this attitude that the very biology of the human being is wrong, because of this, culture started hiding it under the carpet. Well, in this culture we never had it, but after the British came and left, we became more prudish than the British. But before that, if you look at our temples, all the outside temple art is all pornographic, if that's what you want to call it. But we don't call it pornographic, we are only talking about the various dimensions of human biology. Because we don't see it as wrong, but we see it as the periphery of life. If you stay there only, you will stay on the physical dimension forever, you will not explore anything else. So in the temple, always it's the periphery. You are supposed to look at that and understand it's the periphery of life and try to make an attempt to go deeper, but at the same time not to be in denial of it. Not to glorify it or not to be in denial of it is the most important thing. But in your college, watching these things on the whatever, your internet or whatever, people tell me that… somebody told me, I don't know if these percentages are correct. When I was asking, what is the content? I was trying to understand the internet and its content, what is the real content on the internet? They're telling me, you should know, they're telling me 70% of the content on the internet is pornography. Is it so? Is it so? You must be the expert. Is somebody doing PhD on it? They told me 70%. I said 70% is unreasonable and sick levels of pornography. If it occupies a small percentage, it's okay. 70% of a technological platform which could do millions of things, unfortunately is pornographic. Just biology of life. It's very unfortunate because once you come as a human being, your biology is not the front end of your life. It is one part of your life. This cerebral capability came so that your intelligence becomes the front end of your life, and if you become conscious, your consciousness becomes the front end of your life. Biology is the front end of a bull. It's okay for him, that's all he knows. But biology should not be the front end of a human life, it is part of our life. We are not denying it. So, at a certain stage in your life, it's like this. A 95-year-old man went for a medical checkup with his doctor. The doctor did a thorough checkup and said, "Hey, old boy, you're doing great for 95, no problem with you." Then the old man asked, "Doctor, but what about my sex life?" Then the doctor looked at him and asked, "Thinking about it or talking about it?" So at different stages of life, there are some times you only think about it and talk about it, there are some times you indulge in it. These are passing phases of life. How much of it is needed for you, you are the best judge. But at the same time, you came here not to explore your biology. At least you should have gone to MSc in biology. You shouldn't be wasting your time in a technological institute exploring biology. Does it mean to say you don't have biology, you don't have biological needs? You have, it's fine, but it must be on the periphery. It should not become the core of your life because it will reduce you in the sense A creature which was purely biological evolved into a place which has an intelligence of its own beyond its biology. See, animal intelligence works for its biology alone. How to get its food, how to get its mate, this is all its entire life is. If human intelligence also functions like that, you are bellying the evolutionary process. You are seeing how to go back, take the evolutionary process backward, not necessary. This does not mean you do not have a body, body has its needs, as there is physical hunger, so there is sexuality. You have to address it in some way, but to what extent is your choice, but definitely it should not be the front end of your life because you're rolling back evolutionary scheme of putting your intelligence and consciousness in the front. Instead of that, you're putting your biology in the front.
I hope you enjoyed watching that video by Sadhguru talking about biology. I made some notes based on the previous video, the video that we just watched, and I'm going to talk about my own personal experiences, especially as it relates to this video that we just watched. So let's get started. First thing I want to reflect back on what Sadhguru said is that biology is not the front end of our life. That's a revolutionary thought, even to me. Why? Because for whatever reasons, and it becomes more and more apparent to me that the reasons are certain religious groups and certain organizations took this one area of human life, the reproductive act and the lower pleasure center, and made it in a way that they can control the population through whatever means. Oh, don't do this, or oh, do this, or oh, do this in only a certain way, oh, this or that or the other thing. It's completely made up. There's so much stigma, so much shame, so much guilt associated with this act, the reproductive act. It's unneeded. And it's very simple. It's just biology. It's just reproduction. So Sadhguru here says that either you can over-exaggerate it or you can suppress it. But both are not needed or not recommended. What is recommended? For you just to be normal. Hey, it's there. And there's no reason to blow it up out of proportions, and there's no reason to suppress it either. Hey, it's just, just basic biology. Which, I've been at the both extremes. At the beginning of my life, growing up in a post-Soviet Union country, and growing up with a particular religion and certain parents, this shame, this guilt, this, oh no, 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 don't do this, oh no, 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 this is very taboo, was always there. So the repression aspect was there. And then as I got older, the opposite started happening. Now I'm kind of finding a balance. And when Sadhguru said that this is just biology, this is just one simple human side, it awoken something in me. So that's good. Looking back at the content of the internet, 70% is internet pornography. That's crazy. I heard this statistic before in my childhood years and going through school, that the majority of the internet is adult videos. And that's, wow, that's okay. I thought it was weird when I first heard it, but now reflecting back on it, it is showing where the human minds are at. We have such a capability with our intellect, with our emotions, with our evolved brain and upright spine, and we're using it for basic biology, basic reproduction. Well, to no mistake, I guess, because it's so pleasurable. Yet not everything that's pleasurable is good for you. It's supposed to be maintained, handled with respect. And why is it the way it is? Well, I don't know. But the difficult thing is to transcend this. That's what is important. You have to transcend sexuality and sensuality in a way that you never have sensual thoughts or lust or this again. No. In a way that there's higher things. There's higher things up here. You go higher, you experience pleasure, a much more refined pleasure, not as coarse as sexuality. And with sexuality, there also comes many downsides, like once you release this energy, it's very difficult to get back. So it's not advantageous for you to release. And fundamentally, first and foremost, this is a reproductive act. It's made for making children. So we're blowing this out of proportion like it's some holy heavenly thing, which it is. Okay, it's fine. But realistically, you're doing this to make another child, to make a human being. That's what it's for. And that's not all that life is about. There's lots of things, lots of other things in life. So, yes, human beings have been controlled in this way. That's very apparent to me. We should take responsibility for ourselves, but still, the outside forces definitely have a role to play. A particular type of organization. I'm sure you know the name. So, with our human intelligence and the amazing capabilities of the internet, 70% of adult videos is a little bit absurd. So we should turn our attention towards wisdom, towards higher aspects of life, not just reproductive acts. Don't you think? Yes. Next. Hormones. Sadhguru says that, and it's a very accurate statement, that your brain is being hijacked by hormones. When you reach a certain age, hormones are flaring up in your body and your brain is being hijacked. You don't really know what you're doing. It's the hormones compulsively making you do certain things. Again, that needs to be transcended. Is that the hormones' fault? No, that's nature playing its role. But you are not your hormones. Let's just make it clear. And also, you're not your body. You have a body, and you're in control of your body. And you have absolute responsibility for what is happening inside of this atmosphere. What is the human being? Well, your personal casing. You're responsible for that. And between the age of your teenage years all the way to 28, 29, 30, and a little bit more than that, is when the hormones are still flaring up big time. And once you pass this phase, then you find some equilibrium. Okay, you can see a person for what it is. Lastly, animals can't make conscious choices as it relates to this aspect of life. They can't choose to replicate when they want. The hormones flare up and the nature takes over, and they do what is instinctive in them. We also have instincts as human beings. I have instincts, you have instincts, but we can look at our instincts. We can be aware of our instincts. We can be conscious of what's happening inside. And we don't have to act upon our instincts. We can transcend our instincts. So that's the responsible thing to do as a human being. Sadhguru also says that we are nice as human beings. Human beings are very nice, but we're too many of us. And I'm not sure if in this video he said this particular statement, but something along the lines of some business interests want you to think that you should have more kids so that they have more customers in the future, which is just madness. I don't really think that we need more human beings. And why? Actually, I know for a fact, almost for a fact, 90% certain. Because if you look at deer, if we remove wolves from the population and deer just spring up, there's no natural counter for them, then they start to destroy their environment. They eat everything, they cause havoc. And then human beings need to get involved with that. Well, let's look at the human population. There are no predators for human beings. We're the top tier predator on the planet. Maybe we should have some predators. I don't know. But because of no predators, we are free to do whatever we like. And look what we're doing. Destroying the environment, let alone the environment. 100 billion animals. 100 billion, B. Not in total, every year, every 365 days. 100 billion. Do you know how much 100 billion is? 1 billion is 1,000 millions. And 1 million is 10 100,000s. Okay? Do you know how much that is? No, you don't, and I don't either. Okay? I don't blame you. 100 billion animals have their lives lost by human beings' hands every year because we want to put them in our mouth. Why? For stupidity, for ignorance, for pleasure. Okay, we'll say it accurately. It's for pleasure. Chickens don't need to eat meat to stay alive. Pigs don't need to eat meat to stay alive. Cows don't need to eat meat to stay alive. They eat plants. But we need to eat them to stay alive. Does that make sense to you? No. You eat plants, you'll be better off. It'll be more spiritual. So we're destroying our environment. We're causing havoc on the planet. Why? Because we have no natural predators. And we are an overpopulating species. Okay, there's a scientific term for this. I don't recall what it is. But we're definitely overly populated. So we need some natural balance to kind of control the human population. Because obviously we can't do it. Consciously, you don't have the conscious control of who to replicate with and who not to. You just do it instinctively. Oh, it feels good, pleasure, okay, let's do it. That's not wise. And is a sexuality a need? Sadhguru says that we have human needs or biological needs. I would say no, it's not a need, because you can go your entire life without the sexual act, the reproductive act. It's not a necessity. Like food is a necessity, water is a necessity, medicine to some extent is a necessity, and clothing is a necessity, shelter is a necessity. Without those things, your survival chances go down, way down. But reproduction, not really a necessity, not really a need in that way. So become more conscious, my friends, become more conscious human being, and choose to reproduce consciously and not instinctively, because instinctive actions in any area of your life always lead to harmful consequences and effects. So go to shivakailash.com, purchase yourself some spiritual items like what I have wearing here. Book a session with me, book a call with me if you want. You can do so absolutely free of charge for $0. And we'll talk. I'll help you out spiritually. That's it. Like this video, subscribe. Have a beautiful day.